Hey, welcome to Inside SALMA'S Head, a real girl eras podcast where I just talk about whatever's sitting loudly or heavy inside my head. Nothing too serious and nothing too fake. Just real life, real thoughts, and a real girl trying to figure it out. Okay, so this wasn't even supposed to be my first episode. I had a whole plan. I wanted to come here with something deep, something poetic, but life has always said, nah. Instead, he handed me a pimple in my ear. I know it sounds gross, but stay with me. So, a few days ago, I noticed this tiny pimple in my ear. It was small, but it was so annoying. As a certified pimple popper that I am, I kept pressing it morning, night, every single chance I got, and every time I remembered. But nothing. It hurt, it swelled, and it still refused to pop. But then one random morning, I wasn't even trying. I just touched it lightly, and boom, it popped. And it popped way more than I expected. Now, I'll be honest, in that moment, nothing clicked. At least not in the way of deep realization that people had. Was that, but as I laid down on my bed to sleep that night, the thought resurfaced. And that was when I was able to actually connect it with life. It was also at that time that I wrote it down as a topic to speak on in my podcast, but at least not the first topic. But in that moment, it hit me because life is literally like that. We press, we plan, we pray, we hustle, we cry, and nothing moves. It's like we're stuck in that endless loop of trying. But maybe the reason nothing is moving is because it's not time yet. Because if it popped before it was ready, it would have hurt more or made a mess too soon. I thought about that yesterday again because I had gone to Jamb office to upgrade my Jamb to a direct entry, but I wasn't able to do it because I was underaged and nothing was showing on my portal. I didn't cry at first because it was something I knew could happen. But I didn't think too much of it because I thought that since I was not going to use my Jamb, I was just going to upgrade it to my direct entry results. I was just going to be able to use it to get into school. But that was not possible. What made me cry was because I had gone back into the office because I came there with somebody, not with somebody, but somebody was informed of my arrival, like to facilitate the process and make it quicker. And she was asking the official why it wasn't possible, why I wasn't able to do it. And he said because I was underaged. Now, people in the office, both people that came there to do whatever they came to do and the officials were telling me, oh, that why did I write Jamb again? I said, I wrote Jamb last year. And when I registered for Jamb last year, there was no issue. There was no rule as at that time. It was this year the rule became very, very rigid and very strong. And they started telling me that why would I do that? It was making me look like a fool or something. And in that moment, I started crying. For a while, I just sat there. And then that memory, that stupid ear pimple, it came back. And it made me think maybe this too is just my pressure face. Maybe I'm still being built. Maybe there's something forming that I cannot see yet. It's not easy though, because when you are waiting, it feels like punishment. You see people moving forward, getting admitted, traveling, starting things, and you're just here. But I'm learning that I don't have the same destiny as people, and things will happen to different people at different times. I had big dreams though, graduate from secondary school at 14, get into the university at that same age, be done with my with a 5 year course at the age of 19, or if I wanted to study medicine and surgery, 20, I'll be done, inshallah. But look who's likely going to get into the university at 17, or maybe later, because at this point I don't even know. But maybe God's not saying no. Maybe He's just saying, relax. You're not ready yet. And that's okay. Because when it's finally ready, it will overflow. It will make sense. It will even surprise you. But for now, you're still being built. I am still being built. And I plan to take that phase very seriously because it is a huge part of the success story. Now I'm trying to stop pressing so hard, to stop rushing what isn't ready. Because when it's time, I won't have to force it. It will just happen like that. So, yeah, this episode isn't deep or poetic like I imagined, but it's real. And maybe that's a better way to start. Because honestly, I'm still learning patience, still trying to believe that delays aren't rejections, they're just redirections. And if you're listening now, maybe you're in your pressure phase too. So let's breathe, let's wait, and let's trust that what's building inside us is going to pop beautifully in its own time. This is Inside Salma's Head, a real girl eras podcast where we don't rush the story, we live it. If something in this episode hits you, sit with it. And remember, sometimes what feels stuck is actually just simmering. I'm Salma, and I'll see you in the next one. Salam.